All right, so hello and thank you for having me today, everybody. And also thank you all for your service to our country. I'm Marcel Folk and I'm a financial advisor with Northwestern Mutual. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today. I put my contact information on the screen here for anyone that needs to continue the conversation after the presentation. I'm out of Annapolis, Maryland, but I do work all over the country. So if you do have more questions after the presentation, I'm happy to get on a call with you. And we do full service planning. There's no cost for that. So I'd love to be a resource to anybody that, has things that keeps them up at night. So as we look at this slide here, I want you to kind of ask yourself these questions. The things that potentially prevent you from going to bed at a decent hour could be, things like, can I retire in 10 years? Can this business really fund my retirement? What if my partner dies? Do I want to, what do I want to do this business with my, son or daughter? Now that I've personally guaranteed a loan for this business, I could lose everything if something goes wrong. So, and also we ask ourselves all the time, what if something happens to me? What if I get hurt? What if I can't work? How would my business survive? And what would happen to my family? Other questions you might be asking yourself in the all hours of the night could be things like, okay, well, expanding your business could potentially make sense, but can you get the credit that you need? If the business is a huge part of your life and if it's part of your family's too, how do you make sure that your family gets to actually enjoy the benefits all of your hard work? There's a lot of questions that, and as business owners, we all ask ourselves, and we kind of feel stuck sometimes. This picture here it says so much about the things that kind of happen to us a lot in our day to day, and entrepreneurship as a whole can be a very lonely journey. Some other things to ask yourself is, I can't keep doing it all by myself. How do I attract the right talent to help me grow the business? My biggest competitors provide great benefits. Do I need to offer more? I can't believe I missed another school event working late. The kids are disappointed, and so am I. So, as you think about the things that you worry about, I want you to ask yourself, what else keeps you awake at night? If you're worrying about your business, you are not alone. As someone who runs a business of my own, I understand the financial challenges that we face and how they can really wear on you. It's made me passionate about helping other business owners plan for both their company and their personal financial security so that they can sleep better at night. So, today I'm going to talk about some planning strategies that could help you in your business. Things like identifying and prioritizing goals and concerns, four critical asset classes of your business to consider, key financial areas of your business to protect, and then also stages of business development and some key things to think about in each of them. And then also why it's a good idea to have business advisors. So we're going to kind of do an exercise. So I want to start out by talking about your goals because anything that you want for yourself and your business impacts all the planning that you do. So anytime I do financial planning with people, it all starts in what kind of life do you want to have? What age do you want to have the potential to retire? As business owners, many of us don't want to retire. We want to continue working, but it's nice to have those options. So on the next slide, there is a list of common business objectives and priorities. I'm going to give you a few minutes and basically, we're going to rate each topic. So I know that a lot of exercises aren't always fun, but a lot of people are surprised as to how helpful this one is to them. So we're going to rate the next slides, the topics from 1 to being least important, and then 10 being most important. So I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes, and then you can kind of use a notepad or an electric device, you can use your phone to kind of just jot notes as to these things on these topics for you. I hope and I hope everybody can kind of see this on the screen. I can actually read some of them out. So let me just set my timer really quick.
And you can put your answers in the chat if you like.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Some of the things, put some things in the chat that kind of stick out the most. So the things for your business would be like covering liability for any business loans or leases that you personally guaranteed, ensuring your business expenses will be paid if you become disabled, protect the business in the event that somebody that is close to your business, that kind of your key person, what if they become disabled or pass away? Um, oh, I see somebody in the chat put provide competitive and cost-effective employee and group benefits programs. That's actually something I hear of all the time with businesses having, especially in the job market right now, trying to find that talent and keeping them. And um, it's a great one right there. Has anybody ever thought about like what happens to themselves as a business owner? Like, I think we spend so much time working and growing our businesses and, developing revenues and cash flows. Have we ever thought about like what would happen to our business if something happens to us? And then if you have a business that has multiple partners, that's something to consider too, because everybody kind of works together as a whole. So we have a little under 2 minutes left, so I'll give you that time.
See, we got one answer in the chat, Marcel.
Oh, they can't see my screen.
Somebody said they can't see your screen. I know my computer went out, so I had to make a jump
Oh,
back.
okay. I wonder, is there anything I can do to help with that?
Said they can see your screen, so I'm saying they can see it. If you are unable to see the screen or maybe have some audio issues, try going out and coming back in and see if that'll fix the issue.
Thank you so much, Curtis.
You're welcome.
All right, so we've got about 30 seconds left. All right, so time is up. So I hope everybody kind of had enough time to go through and at least think about the things that are important to them. I want everybody to kind of think about what kind of surprised you about this exercise. What are some of the themes that jumped out at you? Feel free to share them in the chat. I do see you all have some really good answers in here, by the way. So as business owners, we often think about our balance sheet, assets versus liabilities. There's 4 basic types of assets in any business, and it's important to protect them all. So the first one is like your physical assets. These are your buildings, machinery, the physical things, equipment, cars, trucks. And then employees, they are assets. They're our human capital. This one's easy for most of us to kind of overlook as an asset, but our employees are extremely important to our business, whether it's the employees that we already have, or maybe we're looking to expand by bringing in the best and the brightest people. And people are a big deal, and they should be considered an asset. The business itself is an asset. So it's kind of, it's the softer side of things, the goodwill, the reputation, the client relationships that you've earned as a business. And then you as a business owner, the key person, you're the glue that holds the whole thing together. I've got clients that have had very, very, very successful businesses. And if you ever watch the blocks, there is a season 16 coming out in like the next, I don't know, 9 months or so, where one of the judges mentioned that she had a multi-million-dollar oil company that almost bankrupt because her father got sick because he was like the main driver of the business. That was a pretty powerful story, so I wanted to share that. Um, Now, there's also four key financial areas of your business to think about. The first two are the risk management and the employee benefits. They fall under the broader category of like business planning. So risk management, that's the steps you take to protect your business from unforeseen events. So employee benefits, they're the various plans and incentives that help you recruit and keep the employees that will help your business grow and stay competitive. And then the third area, that's exit planning. So at some point in the future, you're no longer going to be running your business, whether you like it or not. You're not going to run your business forever. So whether you're retiring, transferring ownership to your children, selling the business so you can focus on other opportunities or anything else, you do need a strategy to convert your business into an asset so that you can move on to other things. And then finally, personal financial planning. And you might not think of this as part of your business, but as a business owner, your personal planning is important too. So the challenge with planning for all of these areas is that they're all interdependent. So how you manage and plan for your business directly impacts how you plan for your personal and financial situation. And then how you plan employee benefits affects your exit plan and so on. So when I'm working with business owners, I always recommend an integrated approach to planning. So it's the only way to make sure that everything is working together to build the strongest possible financial situation for yourself and for your business. So that's also why a customized plan is so important, because nobody in this room has exactly the same financial situation. They don't have the same business needs. They don't have the same goals. Your business is unique and your personal finances are unique. And then together they create a financial situation that requires a unique plan. So I want to start now with risk management, which is part of your business planning. So risk management means protecting your business from the loss of physical and intellectual and human assets. So your physical assets could include buildings, office space, equipment, and machinery. And then your intellectual assets are things like patents, copyrights, trademarks, or formulas. And then people are assets. Your employees are your assets too, especially those who are key to your business, whether you have a general manager or you have an operations manager, or even just the people that technicians that do the regular day to day. So you do need to protect your business against losing them due to illness or injury. So to help determine how well your business is covered on the risk management front, ask yourself these questions. Number one, do you have liability coverage? When was the last time you reviewed it? When your business is growing, it's easy to forget that your coverage needs to grow with it. And then, are you protecting your intellectual property, like patents and copyrights? What if you become disabled? How would you still bring in an income and then pay your business expenses? What if it was someone else? What if a key employee becomes disabled or passes away? Would you be able to replace them, or would the business be able to continue to run without them? So these are really very real risks that every business faces. And if you're feeling uncomfortable about any of your answers to those questions, you should start planning to address them soon. All right, so now let's look at the other part of business planning, which are your employee benefits. This includes all those perks you have for your employees and yourself too. Benefits like group health, life, and disability income insurance, planning for long-term care, and then retirement benefits such as a 401k. And then, they're broken down into basically two categories. You've got benefits that are offered to all of your full-time employees, and then benefits that are offered only to select key employees, which are sometimes referred as like carve out or executive benefits. Why is it so important to offer benefits to your employees? There's actually a lot of reasons. So first, it's just the right thing to do. Your employees need things like health insurance and retirement plans to live comfortable lives. And as an employer, you have access to group plans that can help make their lives better at a lower cost than they can likely get on their own. Benefits help you stay competitive in your market. They attract employees to you and help you keep them once they're in the door. These days, a competitive benefits package is expected. And if you don't have one, it's harder to get the employees you want and easier for them to be lured away too. And of course, anything you offer to your employees, you can take advantage of too. Here are some key questions to think about to help you figure out if your employee benefit strategy is meeting your company needs. First of all, what's the goal of your employee benefit strategy? What do you want it to do for your business? Do you know what your competitors are offering? How do you compare with them? If you were starting a new job and you offered the same benefits package that you give your employees, how would you feel? Would you be happy about it? Would you think it's the bare minimum? Whatever you're feeling is a good indicator about what the prospective employee thinks too. And finally, have you asked your employees what they think about the benefits you offer? Do you know what other benefits they'd like to see? The best way to know if you're giving them what they want and need is to ask them. And there may be things that are important to them that you haven't thought of. And now let's talk a little bit about exit planning. So if anybody here has thought about how they eventually leave their business, I would love to see it in the chat. Some people may think that they want to pass the business on to a family member, or maybe an employee. What about potentially selling the business? I'm curious as to who has kind of already thought about what they would do so far as when they go to pass the business on to someone else. And I'm curious if anybody's kind of just considering closing up shop completely. So those are all common ways to leave a business. If you're one of the people who thinks that your children might want to take over the business, you are in the majority. Most business owners that have children believe that they want the business to be taken over by their children. It's one of the most common ways to pass a family business on. However, it's not always the simplest. A lot of business owners I have met in my time, and I'm actually in this category. Whenever you have children, if your oldest child saw how hard it was to build your business, a lot of times they don't want it. They saw how hard it was to build and they get kind of terrified to take over. My daughter with my event business, she told me, I don't want to manage people. If we have multiple children, sometimes the youngest ones want the business because they kind of didn't see the struggle of what it looked like when you were building it. Now, sometimes the owner does not feel that the children are ready. They're not ready to pass on the business yet. Or it could be that you're ready to let it go, but your kids aren't ready or willing to take the business on. And then if you have multiple children and you want to leave it to all of them, they might not all agree on how the major business decisions will be handled. So there are reasons that very few family businesses survive beyond the first generation. So you do have to plan your transition well if you want to be kind of that exception to that rule. So while passing the business to family, selling and closing outright are all common ways to leave your business, they're not the only ways. So no one wants it to happen, but unfortunately, it's also pretty common to leave the business because of a disability or to pass away before you get to retire. I hope that no one here ends up in that situation. And I know it's not fun to think about, but it is very important to plan for. I know it sounds morbid, but it's very, very responsible to start having those conversations and talking to somebody to have a plan done. Um, so if you don't, you might not have much say in what happens to the business that you've worked so hard to rebuild or to build up, if you don't plan for it prior to passing away. Um, so it's better to have that plan done while you're still here. Now, what kind of planning do you need to do? So these questions are just a few that you need to start kind of addressing. I want you to think about, when you move on from your business, who do you want to take over? What is the real value of your business? And how will you recoup that value whenever you leave? And then on the flip side, how is the new owner going to pay you for the value of the business when you move on? So it's never too soon to start planning for this. If you wait too long, you may have fewer options for your exit strategy than you'd like. And then as business owners, we often put the needs of our companies ahead of our personal needs. So that's true with our time and our energy, and it's true when it comes to finances too. But your personal financial security is just as important as your business's. Um, so let's take a look at personal financial planning. So as we mentioned earlier, all the areas of business, they're all interconnected. So that goes for your personal and your business financial goals. And you've put a lot of time and money into getting your business off the ground. And in turn, your business fuels your personal finances. So here are some questions to consider when you're thinking about your personal financial security. So if you become sick or disabled, what would happen to your business? What about your finances? What about the personal finances? Could you still make ends meet if, if something were to happen to you? Can you grow your business the way you want to and keep your family thriving at the same time? And then how are you doing with retirement planning? Is your business funding your retirement plans while it's growing? So when you're thinking about all four areas of your business, that probably feels like a lot of planning, and it's important to your personal and professional success. It's difficult to balance them, which is why having a professional to work with you on prioritization and planning can be a great help. So, and we don't do it all at once. We kind of um, we do this in phases. So most of our clients that work with us, they work with us for 38 plus years. So it's definitely a process. And we do look at all the stages of business, and kind of the planning that you want to focus on differs at each stage. So now I want to talk about the stages of business development. So we've got startup, growth, maturity, and transfer. So no matter what stage you're in, you're still going to be dealing with all four components, which is risk management, employee benefits, business succession, and personal planning. But your needs for each of those areas change as your business grows. So what you focus on will be a little different as time goes on. So let's talk about the startup phase. So whenever you're just starting out, cash is king. Startup is often the most exciting phase of a business, but it's usually the leanest financially. So if your business is in the startup phase, you've got a lot going on just to get things off the ground and then keep them running. So don't overlook those four basic areas though. If you put off risk management at this stage, your business could be derailed by something unexpected before it actually gets off the ground. And then if you put off employee benefits planning, you might not attract the employees you want and need to move on to the next stage. And then during doing that personal planning helps you stay ahead of things and put you on the right track to achieve your goals when you want to. And while it may seem like jumping the gun to start planning for business succession when you're just getting started, by building your business with that in mind, it kind of makes the path to succession easier in the long run. Now, when you get past startup and move into growth, you're expanding, you're hiring, And then you probably feel like there's never enough time to get it all done. So the growth phase can happen many times throughout a business's lifetime. And then during those times, it's important to review the plans that you put in place and start expanding them to kind of keep up with your changing business and personal life. So when you get to the maturity phase, you're basically on cruise control. Your business is successful and it's probably making good money too. So you can afford the icing on the cake and provide more benefits to the employees who helped grow your business. At this point, you're making sure your succession plan reflects how you want your business to function while you once you have moved on, and then you can reward yourself by making sure that your personal financial needs are on track for today and the future. And then we have the transfer phase. This is basically when you're ready to move on from your business. The transition plans that you've made up until now start to be realized. You might be getting ready for your kids to take over the business, or maybe you're working with someone to buy you out. You've got some hard choices to make as you implement your plans. And then financially, you want to make sure that the value of the business is reflected in your financial exit plan. And then there's the softer side. It's the emotional side when you pull yourself away from a business that you've built. Sometimes the emotional side is the most difficult part of all. Through all of these phases, it's important to have people around you that you can trust, that people like accountants, attorneys, bankers, and more. They help you plan and make the right decisions that will put your business on track to success. A good business advisor works with you to understand both your business and personal goals, and then understanding that everyone is unique. Your business isn't exactly like anyone else's, and neither is your personal financial situation. There's no one product or approach that can solve all your needs. So, you and all your advisors should work together to create a personalized solution for financial security. At the end of the day, the best advisors are those who listen to you. They hear your frustrations and your concerns. They know, that you're working hard and what you're working towards. And then they also know that the things that they don't know, if there's a question that comes up and they don't have the answers, they at least know that. And then they know that they have access to licensed professionals who specialize in the areas that are important to you and your business. And they can bring those resources and experts to the table to work with you when you need them. Here at Northwestern Mutual, we've been helping families and businesses with their financial security for over 160 years. We have a network of specialists who can work together with you and your other advisors, whether it's your CPA, attorney, banker, or anyone else. We collaborate to help you reach your financial goals. So we've covered a lot today, so let's quickly review the topics we've covered. So we've worked through identifying and prioritizing your goals and concerns, the four asset classes of your business, the key financial areas of your business, the stages of business development, why it's a good idea to have a trusted business advisor. And then if you have any questions on anything that I've talked about today, feel free to put them in the chat. And I just want to thank everybody again for being here today. I hope that this talk has given you some things to think about as you move your business forward. With the right planning, you can really start turning those worried thoughts into something more like, hey, I'm feeling confident that, I have the answers to the questions that I was asking myself earlier. And there is a sense of calmness when you have a financial advisor. In fact, somebody earlier mentioned that she is with Northwestern Mutual. I was also a client first. In fact, that's how I um, realized everybody needs to have conversations like this because we don't when we have businesses, we're not looking for advisors. We're too busy running our businesses. So I was lucky. At an event, I ran into my advisor, met him, had a plan done, and then years later, I realized I had more options in life because of the plan I had put in place years ago. And now that I'm a grandmother, of my granddaughter is my family's fifth generation. So my grandmother is still here and she's a great great grandmother. But now I see like, okay, what the future kind of looks like. and what those priorities look like um, moving forward. So I would love to connect with you all. If anybody has any questions or anything comes up, feel free to reach out to me. I'm an open book, and it's really been just a true pleasure being here with you all today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcel. We got a few questions, but not really questions because none in the Q&A, but a couple from the chat. One of them was from earlier. It was mentioning talking about transferring their actual business. Stated, yes, he thought about adding one of his sons as a partner, but causes tax consequences. So probably be better to let it go and transfer on death. We did state that. Somebody
Yeah.
else posted, true, we are at either shut it down or expand the business. And to answer your questions, yes, you will get a copy of this presentation by tomorrow morning. Yes, you will get a copy of the slide by tomorrow morning as well. Somebody asked, how might this differ from a religious nonprofit business?
Okay, those are some really, really good questions. Okay, let me start with the first one. Yes, thought about adding one of my sons as a partner, but causes tax consequences. Probably better to let it go and transfer on death. I would love to connect with you, Harry, because it's hard to give you an answer without getting all the details. And there are things that we would want to plan around and discuss prior to you passing, because I've seen people pass away and then things that could have been kind of handled prior, it gets much more difficult to try to make anything happen when you're already gone. So I would love to connect with you offline to kind of go into detail to get more info. Because you're right, passing on anything, whether it's before you pass or after, there are tax consequences to definitely think about.
Marcel, can you, if it's not on one of your slides, do you mind putting your contact information in the chat for the participants?
Sure.
I have a few people asking for your contact information.
Oh, sure. Yeah, here, let me put it right here for you. This is my email. And then I'm going to give you all my personal cell phone number. And then there is, here, let me put this in here too. So anybody can schedule themselves a free conversation with me. Actually, there's never a fee for a meeting. I'm happy to do a whole comprehensive plan for anybody that's on here at no cost, no strings attached. So there's a link in there. You can just kind of see what makes sense for your schedule, and then schedule on the calendar. For a religious nonprofit business, I do have clients that have nonprofits. As far as like, you know what, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I do have a church that's a client. So planning can still be done even if it's a religious nonprofit business. It's just the planning would just look different. What happens when a partner dies in an LLC? That is a huge thing that we can help plan around. So for instance, let's say you own a business with 3 partners, and then one of those partners dies. The family, depending on what kind of operating agreement you have or how your business is structured, depending on how all of that kind of plays out, sometimes the family can potentially come after the business and say, hey, we want our father's half or portion of the business. And that gets really, really challenging because not all businesses have that cash just sitting in the bank. Actually, almost nobody does, just to buy somebody out. So we do help to protect against that. In fact, that's like probably one of the things that most business partners don't think about, because everybody's kind of gathering together. They're working in their day to day as if everybody's just going to survive forever. But it really gets tricky when someone passes and then you have to figure out what to do with their portion. And then heaven forbid somebody's coming after you for their portion. So Matthews, I would love to connect with you as well. I can definitely go into more detail with you. In fact, I can maybe we can do another webinar and I can kind of go into more detail about that, because I actually have another webinar called Business Succession Planning, and we do go into like if you have a partner or pros and cons of leaving it to your children and things like that.
Okay.
Liability coverage for business loans. So Julie, I kind of know what you might be asking here, but I don't want to assume. But there are things that we can discuss offline, so I can kind of get a deeper dive as to what the question is and kind of what you're looking to do, like what that goal is. All really good questions, by the way. Transition to a new market or business opportunity. Yeah, a lot of business owners, you know, after so long, you kind of get tired of that industry you're in, and you're like, I don't want to let it go, because, you know, it's your baby. You grew it, you know, you raised it, and then you do want to transition to something new, but you want to make sure that the business that you worked so hard to grow continues without you, and it is in good new hands. Thank you, everybody. I see all of your notes.
I think it's one question at the end. If you see it, let me know. My
business partner is 56 years old and a smoker. How can I go about securing key man insurance? Let's talk offline. We do have options. We would have to get more details about their health, but there are things we can look at for sure. I have a lot of clients that are smokers and they refuse to give up the tobacco. But there's usually still some kind of solution there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? My LinkedIn. Somebody just asked about LinkedIn. I'm Marcel Folk, and let me see if I can pull it up in here. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to put my LinkedIn profile in the chat too. Robin, you said your son and you may combine your businesses. Okay, so you each have a business and you're thinking about kind of merging. Okay. I've got some people you can talk to about that too. I would love to have a chat. You're very welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for the good feedback.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. If there's no more questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to Marcel and let her know, if you need anything, far as, financial service business wise. So she did come today and bless us with a great presentation and some good information. So we definitely appreciate it. Thank you again for your time. Thank everybody else for their time as well. We really appreciate it. Please, after this is over, please feel free to complete the survey. Let us know how we did today. And we look forward to you guys attending our next webinar. We thank you guys once again, and all the veterans out there. Thank you for your service. We definitely really appreciate you. And if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to give us send us an email at OSDBU, stratcom.gov, and we will see you all next time. Thank you, and hope everybody stays cool and have a wonderful day. Thank you, Marcel. I'll talk to you later.
So
Thank you.
Alrighty, everybody, have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.